Saturday, August 19th, a hot summer night in Los Angeles. Where are you going to be?
I just ran away from home. Now I'm going to Disneyland.
Nah, you're going to be at the Roxy with Seven Horse. Seven Horse with Mike Dawson and the Smokin Kills.
City of the angels.
Los Angeles.
Just another Southern California.
Hot summer night. Tickets available now at sevenhorsemusic.com. Seven Horse, Mike Dawson and the Smokin Kills. And for the first time in a long time, Dada reunite.
It's all I am, it's all I am. It's all I am, it's all I am.
A hot summer night in Los Angeles. Seven Horse, Dada, and Mike Dawson and the Smokin Kills. August 19th at the Roxy on the historic Sunset Strip. Get your tickets now at sevenhorsemusic.com.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dick
Yes, it is party time. Hello, Las Vegas. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley, and welcome to another fucking podcast. We are live, as we are every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. in the, I used to say Hotel California time, but not in California anymore. Same time zone. It is what it is. I think we all know that. You guys heard at the top of the show, of course, do not walk to your ticket office because there are a few tickets available yet for the Seven Horse Mike Dawson Smokin Kills show at the Roxy next Saturday night. That would be the 19th if you're using your math. And there will be a Dada reunion, which will be glorious. Cannot wait for that. Of course, the pre and post show will be at the Rainbow as well. It should be. Make sure you guys hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show page on Facebook is Another Effing Podcast. Share the show, go on the YouTube, like that, share that, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And if you do like what I do, CashApp, $Izzy Presley.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
CashApp.
CashApp, Real Izzy Presley on the Venmo and izzypresley at yahoo.com on the PayPal. With me in studio from the Last in Line, and he has a lot of stuff to talk about other than Last in Line, but we're going to start off with that. Singer extraordinaire, and this guy, and I'm not saying this because you're sitting right here, one of the best goddamn singers in rock. No, I'm serious. And I'll tell you, it really hit Andrew Freeman, everybody. Yeah!
Hey, why are you clapping over there?
Yeah, we got the peanut gallery back here.
That's right. We have an audience tonight.
It really hit me the last two times I saw you perform at Vamped.
Okay.
One of them was with Lynch Mob.
Yes.
And I'm not going to, I felt like a kid at that show.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cause I mean, all the songs and you nail it, you know.
Thanks, man.
And then there was a few pops in at the Def Leppard thing on,
Oh yeah, that was fun, man. That was my friend Neil Shelton. He's been doing that for that band for over 20 years. And I played bass for them about 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. When I left Offspring, my son was born like 2 days after I left, or was shit canned, I should say.
Yeah, that'll happen.
And so yeah, I needed work. And Neil, I don't know if you know Neil Shelton. He was the guitar player in the band.
The older one or the younger one?
Yeah, the older one.
Older one. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the much older one.
Yeah, much older one. Yeah.
He had a music store. It was right next door to where I lived. So we were friends or whatever. He said, "Oh, I'm looking for a bass player for my Def Leppard tribute band." I said, "Okay." So we did that. I mean, he kind of kept me alive for a couple of years, we did that. We did a Nickelback band. We did all sorts of different
Really?
stuff.
A Nickelback tribute. Yeah. Really? How did that go over?
In my house, in my, it was fine. I mean, he called me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this Nickelback thing." When he said, "I know you're not a big fan," because I'm not really a big fan.
Yeah.
But good for them. I don't hate on them like everybody does, but
yeah.
But he said I said, yeah, man, it's not my thing. I'm not really into it. He goes, first show's $500. And I said, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. Cash
If
stuff, money talks.
Led with that would have been fine.
Hey, you want to make $500? Absolutely. What am I playing?
Yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
matter.
I don't
$500. I love it.
I'll see you there. See you at the show.
Wait, hold on. Do I have to pull off Stu Ham shit? No. Okay, good. No, but like I was a few pops in that night, and
Indeed, we all were.
yeah, and I had said to you, and I told you it wasn't a shot at all, but when I heard you do Photograph, it reminded me of the Jani Lane version that he did with George Lynch.
Yeah.
And I hail Jani Lane.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the greatest singers rock and roll ever had, in my opinion, and a great songwriter.
Great songwriter.
Very underrated musician
I
because of Warrant. And then I'm like, holy shit, he sounds like Jani Lane.
Well, I mean, he was Warrant.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
He was Warrant because, I mean, let's be honest, I have no problem with those guys. They're all great guys. I'm really good friends with Rob Mason but the first album, it was Mike Slammer who was playing guitar and the whole thing,
Yeah.
So it was kind of a put together. I think Bo Hill did that. Did he do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bo Hill did do that. Yes.
So that's the, they put together a great record, and it was basically based around Janie's songwriting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then I was a little weepy on the way home. So I listened to his version of Save All Your Love when he was with Great White.
Okay.
Then I'm like, I wonder what Andrew sounded like. And I listened to you, and you sounded like Jani Lane singing fucking Great White, dude. It was like, boom, there it is. But we should.
Life's aspiration.
Oh, wait, that gets a Pat Fontaine laugh. Where is it? Where is it?
Pat Fontaine. Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I wanted to get you in because Last in Line, you guys are starting a tour on September 1st, correct?
Second now.
Second.
The first just got canceled. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Fresno. Yeah. It just got something happened with the promoter. Just got
Oh,
canceled.
so the first show is going to be at
Las Vegas.
At Las Vegas and Vamped. And how long is this run going to be for you guys?
We're going for till the end of the month. I think it goes. I actually pulled it up on my phone so I would remember.
All right. While he's doing that,
September. You can go ahead. See what you can say.
In the words of the great Stone Cold Steve Austin, crack one for the working man.
Oh man, there you go. It's September 23rd. We're doing some September dates, mostly weekends and extended weekends, and then we have stuff in December and February. They're booking more for December and early next.
Well, I suppose it's got to be tough with the schedules.
You say schedules like it's plural.
Okay, it's just the Def Leppard schedule.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what holds us back from everything because we're a side band. Every time they put some up, it's hey, Viv's side band is out doing this, but it's very much a full-time job for me, Vinny, and Phil. So
yeah.
It can be so.
And you guys started that in 2012.
2012.
2012. But what was when you guys started that band? What was was it to just do Dio songs or was it to
pretty much? I mean, it was Vivian had talked to Jimmy and Vinny and said, he seen what they were doing. He just was with Thin Lizzy, so he was playing more aggressive style guitar, and Thin Lizzy's one of his biggest influences, so it got him thinking about him, how he played with those guys and their thing that they had years ago, and that's what it turned into. He's like, well, why don't we just get together, have a jam, see what happens, and so that's where it started. And they called Claude up. Claude came in and came up with this idea. I mean, the guys have different stories, but I think my memory's a little better because I'm a little younger than all of them. And is that they just wanted to play their songs, get together and jam, and called it Last in Line because when Vinny it kind of took a page from the Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell thing, because Vinny just did Heaven and Hell with Ronnie a couple years earlier, and just said we'll just call it one of the songs and go with it, and it went from there. And then we got it offered a record deal from Frontiers, and decided to go keyboard player lists. That was a bit of a challenge, so we just kind of wrote the record as a 4-piece and went from there. So
when you guys are writing the songs for that first record, was it in the back of your head to try to write like Dio songs, or was it just let's just create something on our own?
That would be the easiest thing to do. And I think there was an effort to try to recapture the fire of that, But I think when those three guys play together, there's no way to get around that. It's the original Dio band, not not Ronnie James Dio, the artist, Dio band.
Yeah.
And in its original form. So, and I try to get away from that debate, because it's not my fight, but it's hard for them not to sound like that because, it's that band. I mean, it's basically that band, and they didn't write the records with Claude, so Claude wasn't really in the mix on the first album. He might've been a little bit, I think, on the second album. But the first two essentially were, they were written as a band,
Okay.
So, and I think Ronnie got a little more heavy handed on the third one. That's why it kind of fell apart after the third one. So
Got you. I mean, so what was the what was the initial thoughts of the Dio camp?
Oh,
No idea. Don't even care.
I mean, Dio camp meaning his management.
Yeah.
Nigel. Yeah. I mean, they weren't into it. Of course, they still don't approve. It's still not an approval, and it's just one person that doesn't. But I don't know her, and I've never met her. And that's their feud. It's just that's a Vivian and Wendy feud.
No, I get it. I get it.
We're just out there playing, and but I always, there's always a thing where I'm, I get, why would you do that gig? And I'm like, well, if I didn't do it, somebody else was going to do it. So
right.
You can either have it done well or not as well.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like there's two answers to this: good or not good. Which one do you want?
Yeah, and I actually got into an argument, almost a fist fight with somebody, when we first put together somebody from their camp and outside of the NAMM convention one night, and had after some drinks had happened and basically they were very how could you do this, and I said to the guy, I said, you show me one gig that you wouldn't take.
Yeah,
I mean, I almost revealed who it was.
Please tell me it was Tommy Thayer.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you show me one gig that you wouldn't take and you wouldn't go after because, we're all working musicians and keyword working.
Exactly.
So, which is, why I do half the shit that I do, because I gotta feed that over there.
Yeah. Well, look, and this is the thing. I don't know if you're a Kiss geek like I am.
Love Kiss. Yeah.
We goof on Tommy and Eric.
Yeah.
Because they're not Ace and Peter, but they're dressed up like Ace and Peter. But we respect them as musicians.
I will tell you this.
And hold on.
Yeah.
Here, let me finish this thought. Yeah. If I have an Ace Frehley tribute band, if I got that call and I was good enough to do it, you're goddamn right I would do it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I was at a show once, and it's a kind of a famous Kiss show among Kiss fans. It was when Paul didn't do it. Paul didn't perform, and they played as a three-piece. It was Saboba Casino out in California.
Wow.
So Paul had some sort of problem, and he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So Doc and Gene went out on stage, and they said, hey, to the crowd, said, we can play for you guys if you want to, or we can reschedule. And everybody's like, no, play, So I was there that night. And I know Eric. We're not best friends, but I know Eric, because my friend Fran Stuber was Paul's guitar tech. He was the one that passed away.
Oh, yeah.
So him and I known each other since we were kids. So I always had like carte blanche whenever I went there. So long story endless. Eric comes walking up to me in full makeup, not realizing the power he has.
Yeah.
And those boots and the makeup, full makeup. He goes, hey man, you're Andrew, right? I go, oh my God, fake Peter Chris knows who I am. You know what I mean? But it was like, it wasn't Eric. It was the Catman.
Yeah.
What didn't care if it was Peter Chris or whoever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
I didn't care. It was the Catman, dude. You're like, whoa, how does he know me? Oh, because it's Eric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You kind of get just the makeup throws you off. And like, oh shit.
I mean,
shit.
But it's either, and there's a lot of, I've been privy to some of their internal issues because of my connection to them. And there's a reason why those guys aren't together, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And I know you hear like when Eddie, we both know, Eddie.
Yeah. Merry birthday, King Edward, by the way.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Have fun at your steakhouse tonight without me.
We'll talk about that one after.
Yeah. Well, I think he realized it was a little out of my tax bracket. Probably.
Oh, is he going to steakhouse tonight?
Steakhouse.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, there's a reason all that stuff happens. There's a reason why these bands don't work out. There's a reason why, that happened. There's a reason why Claude doesn't play keyboards for us anymore. There's a reason for it. It's not that we hate that person or dislike that person. It just didn't work. You know what I mean? So, and not to be negative about it,
No. I mean, you can be negative all you want. I mean, that's what clickbait is about.
I wish everybody well. Everybody that I don't like from the past, I wish you all well. So,
just check in the chat room really quick. Dick Chasen, haven't seen you in a while. Izzy, you whippersnapper. It's been a while since I've tuned in. Hope you're well.
Dick Chasen, is that his Hebrew name?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Veronica Novak, new listener. Hey, Andrew, we can't wait till we see you next month. See, there you go. We got fans.
I know Veronica. She's great.
Yeah. And what does he say? Eddie Trunk is my fantasy man.
Oh.
You've obviously never seen him in a pool. That might change.
Well, I mean,
hey, look at me. I have a body of a pregnant WNBA player, so I can't say anything.
Pregnant.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. Let's talk about the record. The record came out earlier this year. It's called Judas.
No, Judas?
No, not Judas. Jericho.
Jericho.
It's
like
I had Jericho in my head, and I
like
thought
the title either.
Yeah.
And I came up with it. So,
were you listening to Jericho records at the time, watching some wrestling?
What happened is I'm going to take this off. If you don't mind.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's fine. I wrote the song, and what happens with our band is that I was like, hey, we need to come up with a song. We need to come up with a record title. We need to come up with this. And then it's just dead silence over the email chain. So I just make a list of everything. Like I listed every song title that I had. I went through all the lyrics and I pulled out cool little things and I listed them all. I go, here's a list. Well, I want to see your guys' list.
Yeah.
So they start picking off my list and then somebody else takes credit for it. So yeah. So Jericho was just a song I wrote with the typical rock biblical overtones and all that stuff. So good times. Actually, I'm gonna put these.
Yeah. Well, you know what, you don't really need them, but I'd like you to have them because then you realize, oh shit, I'm not
here where I'm at.
Exactly. I should be closer to the microphone. Sometimes that works, and then you get
issues.
Hey. Is it still one side?
Yeah, it's not.
Hold on.
Sorry, guys. I should have not moved. I did.
It's all good. Just keep talking.
Yeah. Hey, there I am. There I am. Sweet.
Yeah, and then you get to hear these great drops like.
Well, Joe, that's what you call trim.
See, there you go. That was from an episode of Dragnet that I think Chips Enough wrote.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, you really surprised me not knowing what trim is.
That's I knew he was that old.
Well, you see, it's all about the trim and cocaine, okay, brothers and sisters?
Hey, man, I gotta tell you, man, that was great. You are such a talent. I love that guy.
I hail you. Yeah. I love Chip.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
And how's the response been for the record?
Good. I haven't gotten much. I haven't done much of this since the record has come out, and we did 3 shows in April, and since then I really have kind of disconnected from it all. So, so from what I hear, every interview that Vivian's doing over in, on this mega tour, has been positive. So he, he'll send us an email saying I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on the stuff. And, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that,
How does the writing process go with you guys? Is it all by email or do you guys get in a room?
No, we don't really do things remotely. And that's a Vivian thing. Also, him and Vinny like to get together and play.
Yeah.
And I get that it's a good way to do things. But with our current status, we would probably get a lot more done if we tried to do stuff remote. Like being remote is not to get the original ideas doesn't work for them. So they get together, they make a bunch of jams, and then we take those recordings and then I start arranging them at home and, putting them into songs. And then we may get back together to, rearrange some of them or all of them, depending on, what worked and what didn't work. And then we'll get those versions and record them. So
how do you like to do it?
I am getting to be more of a fan of the remote stuff. I would love to get in a room with a band, but these days it's just hard to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have the patience for a lot of that anymore. But we do get in a room. It's a couple days. Sometimes it goes 4 days. It's 2 days, depending on how much time we have, and we write as much as we can musically. And then we just record it, and then we make them songs after. We all arrange them, put them into Pro Tools, arrange them, write choruses, and find out, while we're there, say, oh, this part's good for a chorus, this part's, more of a verse. And then we go from that. But, like songs like on the second record, like Black Out the Sun, it was just this maybe a little over a minute recording of, these guys doing this kind of a blues jam. And I was like, this just sounds like something you would hear at a strip club. And I don't like it. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah. But then something popped up and then we made it into another thing. So I just kind of, verse, chorus. And then it's kind of a simple song, but it's got this, bombastic sort of.
Yeah. Well, I think simplicity is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I approach things very negatively.
I know there's a reason we get along.
Self-admitted, I grew up in a winter state, so everything,
God, don't get me started.
how it is, and it gets to the point where you're like, what am I going to do with this? And some stuff is kind of progressive, and you're like, what am I going to do with this? And then you end up coming up with something because I just have higher expectations because I know what came before me with these guys.
Yeah,
it has to be at a certain level. And if we're going to play our new stuff next to their back catalog, it's gotta measure up. And I'm not saying that it's better or as good, but it's got to at least measure up and be entertaining and at least be driving the ship or driving the car forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I try to do.
Are you finding when you guys play live, are you finding people are coming to the shows because they have the records and not necessarily because of the back catalog? Or do you think it's mostly because of the Dio catalog?
I don't know. Maybe at first it was that, but nowadays it's a good mix of both. I try not to gauge it from social media.
Yeah, you can.
But a lot of people have been commenting that they'd like to hear more of the new material. And that's great. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm, on this propaganda thing here, like, oh, you need to have the new stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's good material and it's a good evolution of what, the Vinny and Vivian relationship, which I think is important, as annoying as it can get being in a band situation. And when you're dealing with people on a people level, I mean, there's a legend issue there. And I think I'm in a very cool place to be able to facilitate that to where they trust me with what I do. Cause I have a lot of control over what I do, and I don't know if that's because they respect what I do or if it's on purpose or they're just lazy about it or whatever. But for whatever reason, they seem to be okay with it. And I want to take that, to the end in a sense.
Yeah.
I want to take that across the goal line. So I think that's important for them to have, some sort of legacy outside of, that's continued from what they did,
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's a big thing too, that they give you as much responsibility as they do, because they could have just said, well, just going to bring this dude in as a hired singer to sing the Dio stuff. And then we do what we do, but you're obviously a very essential part of the band.
Right. Well, that's how it started too. They were like, oh, we're going to write this album. And, Vivian wrote a little bit of one song and he sent it to me and I recorded what he did. And I said, okay. Cause he didn't know that I could write songs. So I went home and rewrote everything he gave me. And I used like one line and he's like, oh, this is much better. Like, okay, cool. So we got somewhere, so they had a chemistry, especially when Jimmy was there was a chemistry.
Yeah.
And it's a new chemistry now with Phil that just happened to work. And I happened to fall into that. And it's kind of cool, when you grow up idolizing guys like that, because we're all from that same,
absolutely,
that era where they were gods when we were kids, and to be able to just fall into that chemistry, it's a great thing.
I mean, you're like me, you're a fan.
Yeah.
Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes? No, it's still
with them now.
Oh, with with them or with anybody. You ever sit and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm in a band with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, when you're like walking through Trader Joe's or, or Vaughn's or whatever, or, a supermarket or you're in a weird place and you hear, Rainbow in the Dark come on, or I'm just, driving around listening to XM and, and I'm flipping around and, some obscure song that my band is playing on, my band now. It is weird. You sometimes go, that's pretty cool. Or you sit back and you're like analyzing your career. And then, cause I'm a panicker. So every morning I wake up, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm as old as I am. And I'm like, I'm still doing this. And, I have a son who's 14 and who's sitting right there uninterested. and not even paying attention. And he's, and I gotta, he's got to go to college and he's got things to do. And, this has not been the best year as far as, for work. And you're like, shit, and
do you need my Instacart code or my
my
Lyft Uber code?
And I'll take some of that, the CashApp shit.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I'm not destitute. I'm okay.
No.
I'm okay, everybody. But it's, even when times are good, like I'm planning for, when they're thin, because it's, how it is when you're a musician. It's just you work. It's hot. It's cold. In the past 2 or 3 years since the pandemic, it's gotten really hot. I had a lot of things going on. So, and I just decided I didn't want to do certain things anymore. So now I have to make up for that. And it's, but we're good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen you pop up at random casinos here and there. Sure. I mean, do you like doing that? Is that something you would like to do more of?
I do. Mostly because I'm not ready to go get a job yet. Like a real big boy job. You know what I mean? Like if I can still make money, as long as everybody's comfortable and happy, I am cool with it. But the second that everybody's not comfortable and happy, I'm out.
Yeah.
So it's, I like doing it because one, it keeps my chops up, because if I don't sing for 6 to 8 months, then my stamina goes away. So that's the main concern, because, when you see me, like if I'm in Mandalay Bay, like playing in the lounge there with my friends, we do this band. It's an all request band. So I never know what the set list is. So I walk in. So it's not like any other thing. You just It's like, what are we doing tonight? Like, no idea. And then like third song, we're playing some obscure John Cougar Mellencamp song. Second reference today, by the way.
Aha.
Yeah. And that's fun for me, because like I've never done Hurt So Good in my life, whereas a lot of bands do that. Like somebody requests, 8675309, a Tommy Two-Tone song. I'm like, hell yeah. Where they're like, oh, I've played this so many times in my life. Like, well, I haven't. And I want to do it right. I want it to make it sound like that 70s punk rock vibe that they were trying to capture. So for me, it's like, hell yeah. Like I'm in, so I have fun doing that. But the money's not like killer, but it's okay.
But look, if you're like, there's people that are out there playing 5 nights a week and they're making a living.
It beats me getting up early and making coffee for you at Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Scotty checking in from Canada. Been loving the Last in Line albums and think your vocals are killer. Any chance of more lies, deceit, and treachery?
Oh yeah, I mean, in the music business, there's always lies, deceit, treachery. LDT. I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. It's very doubtful. Those guys are, it's hard to say. I don't know if you're privy to some of the things that happened over the past couple of years, but we can talk about that here.
Yeah, we can talk about. Well, let me ask you this. So were you with them on the boat?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And that was it. And Bullet Boys were on that boat tour. Boat 2. What was there a weird, I mean, we don't have to go into details if you don't want to, but I mean, was there like a weird thing at all? Or
once I start talking, I'll probably never play another NRC again. But I mean, I think Larry was just trying to, sell tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Larry's a good guy. He's always been good to me. And but he's got to sell that boat out, man.
Absolutely.
So and there's 10 or 20 people who are interested in that. So but yeah, I mean, Larry was a big supporter of us, and he wanted us to, come on the boat, and when the singer they had couldn't do the first cruise. So when I came in, it was, seemed like he was really excited about having, because he was part of that whole Def Leppard cruise that we did when.
Oh yeah. We're going to get to that. Actually I have something important to tell you and to get off my chest when we get there.
All right. Perfect. So yeah, so that's how I know Larry, and again, he's always been cool. And we were recording the last, 2 Last in Line records. We did it at Jeff Pilson's house, and he lives right down the street from Jeff's. So we'd run into him at Albertsons, because he'd, be going there for lunch, and we'd be getting stuff. And so Vinny and I ran into him a couple times, and we were going out to get stuff. So I like Larry, but I think he was definitely trying to cause a little thing, and it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I like Mark. Every time I've met Mark, he's been great.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like I've never worked with him.
Yeah.
But every time I've seen him, oh hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But I've never been on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So I can't I can't speak to it.
My connection to those guys was through Jimmy Deanda, and I met Jimmy, when I first moved to LA. It was one of the first.
Was he wearing a shirt?
Probably not. I don't think he was. I mean, probably not. So I mean, Jimmy and I have been friends. We were fast friends, like instantly. And so he'd been trying to get me, to play with those guys. We had done it in 2010 with the three original guys.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then it just kind of fell apart. And that's just kind of the story with those guys. It just kind of falls apart,
because
there's relationships there. And I had this falling out with Sueda, with Mick Sueda, and I love Mick. I think Mick's one of the greatest guitar players.
Oh, he's amazing.
Of the genre. Even outside, because a lot of these guys are blues based, a lot of these guys are, classical based, but Mick is all of it. Mick is jazz. Like Mick is a very eccentric, eclectic guitar player.
Yeah.
And he does really cool stuff. And I regret the fact that him and I had words and had an argument, but it got to be a kind of a screwed up situation, because it turned into, I was doing a lot of work for the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I do graphics, I do a lot of DIY stuff, and I do it for Last in Line too. I did the first, I was involved in most of the record covers, most of the, the website and the social media. I do all that shit.
Yeah.
So I was doing the same thing for these guys, because it's an opportunity. I'm a working guy. I need to get out and do gigs. And we had this thing, and I had this great 3-piece band, it's like Last in Line, where it's this chemistry. And I know it's the Bullet Boys, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Bullet Boys. But from the downbeat with those guys, it's just like it blows your head off. Jimmy, Mick, and Lonnie, it just blows your head off. And so when they're playing together, there's not too many bands that can touch those three guys when they're on point, but it's just what happens outside of that is where the problem lies, and there's personalities, guys who've known each other for 34 years. There's trust issues. There's all sorts of stuff, which is why they're not a band anymore, which is why those guys, the original lineup, isn't happening anymore.
Yeah.
And it's sad, because you really pull for them, you're really pulling for them. You want them to, why didn't Ronnie and Vivian get back together over all those years? Because they're people.
Yeah.
People don't like each other,
Well, look, and people don't realize that not everybody has the luxury that Motley Crue has, where they can each be on a separate bus and only see each other on stage.
And that's the delusion of a band that plays on these rock cruises too, because the rock cruises, it's a built-in audience, and everybody's a fanatic, and everybody who's there has, the means to get there and invest in what they love, and just going to gigs and hanging out on a cruise ship. Who would want to do that, And so when you get off of that, you come off on this high, like, wow, like we could actually do this. And then you go play, in the middle of Colorado somewhere. Yeah. And 10 people show up.
Yeah. Joe's Bar in Sheboygan.
Exactly. And so it's a little harder to get it going. So I'd love to play with those guys. We wrote some cool songs that were never released, and
oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of them were I repurposed the lyrics though. So,
of course.
But I wish them all well. And I really wish that they would all just get back together with Mark and make it, the band that Mark has now is great.
Mm-hmm.
I know all those guys too.
Yeah.
All great guys. And
Brad Lang's playing with
Brad
them.
Lang's playing bass.
Monster
Ira
player.
Black.
Yeah, Ira Black.
Yeah, not anymore. His voice is all healed now.
What?
Yeah, he's
holy shit.
When he talks to you, you're like, who are you? Yeah, I know.
God, I haven't seen him in a long time. Yeah. I didn't know his voice is normal.
His voice is all healed now, because that was something was going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's a great band, but but yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but I don't think so. I mean, I'd definitely play with Jimmy again. Jimmy and I have a couple songs that we wrote that we want to put out eventually as like a White Stripes 2-piece thing, local
really?
Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting that together. But
well, my favorite last Deceit and Treachery gig was the wedding at the Boutique
Hotel.
Hotel.
My God. Yeah. Oh yeah. Johnny Martin played bass for us.
Johnny Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
See, now we're linked because he's part of my ACT tribute band.
Oh, is he really?
Oh, yeah.
I love Johnny.
Yeah. I have like this. I don't have a band. I have a Rolodex. Who's available? Because that's really what it is. Like, dude, I can do a gig with whoever.
Call me.
Yeah.
I know Kiss songs.
Yeah. You can do all the like I said, you can do all the Todd Howard stuff.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Something. See, I can't sing the Todd Howard.
You just do all the solo stuff.
Not all of it. I mean, we do. I mean, we've gone so deep, dude. Like words are not enough. I mean, we've gone deep,
Right.
but we still do the songs that you would expect to hear him play that he
Right.
played in Kiss.
Sure.
You know, because you have to.
Like rocks, you got to, but you do
We
rock
do
soldiers.
rock
and shit.
soldiers.
Oh,
Dude, we
yeah.
pulled out. You weren't able to make it to our show at Vamp in June, but dude, we had 5-card stud.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool, man.
No,
I
it's
love
fun,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Oh, chairman of the board spelled like he's bored. Big fan of the guest.
Oh,
And for Freeman last in line. Nothing about a fan of the show though. So thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate
Well,
that.
we'll get there. We're
He-
working on it.
I would go on MRC, but I don't want crabs. Well, Krabi
Whoa.
Krabi wasn't on there last year, so
Oh,
because
I
we
see what you did there.
yeah,
you
because
did
we
there,
call
yeah.
him crab.
Yeah,
I see
I
what I
get
did there. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give myself.
It's a big mistake if you have the opportunity to go on that cruise not to go. 'Cause
No,
it's,
dude,
it's a blast.
It is.
So,
Give myself a Pat Fontaine laugh.
Yep.
There you go. Oh, that's the intermission. What else do I have on here? Okay. That's a cocaine joke.
oh my God.
All right. Anyways, sorry.
I'm surprised you use that one, being that your team is getting the shit beat out of them by Detroit right
Oh,
now.
they did. It's over, man.
All right,
Yeah. The Tigers killed them. Def Leppard Cruise. Let's talk about this Def
Yeah,
Leppard
okay,
Cruise.
cool.
There was
The worst and best day of my life. Yeah.
it was I'm not gonna I had a great time on that boat.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah, me
did.
too. Yeah.
There was some shit that sucked, obviously, with
Yeah.
with Jimmy passing away.
Yeah.
And I need to tell you this because this is very important to me. There was a story on TMZ that
Oh.
said karaoke host announces the death of Jimmy Bain.
Karaoke host. Was that you?
That was me. Now, here's the only reason that I did it. And there was pops in me. Somebody from the management crew was in the karaoke lounge. It was on Facebook. Somebody showed it to me on Facebook,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
go,
Well, that wasn't your fault.
"Well, I know, but
I know whose fault it was. That wasn't your fault.
yeah."
How it
But
got out. Yeah.
and when I said, "Should I say something?" He's like, "I'm like, dude, it's on Facebook."
If it's out there, you can't.
And he just kind of,
Yeah. Yeah, there was
He
an
just
old
kinda did
it was
that,
an old
so-
crew member, old Def Leppard crew member. I think he was a Dio crew member at one point too. That what happened was Jimmy passed on Saturday. The cruise went till Monday, I think.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to play on Sunday, and Leopard had to play that night. We were out to sea, so we couldn't get a hold of Jimmy's daughter. And she lived in London, and she lives in London, and she's just one of the best people you ever meet. You know, I love her to death. And we couldn't get a hold of her. So we were just holding it until we got a hold of her, holding
Yeah.
the information till we got a hold of her. And this one guy, I can't remember his name, but he decided to, and this was also happening during the NAMM convention in Anaheim.
"Oh,
So
that's
he
right."
he texted somebody who was at the Hilton bar or one of the bars at the hotels and said, "Hey, Jimmy just passed," and that guy it just spread like wildfire, And so it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked for her because I really nobody wants to find out that your father passed.
Yeah.
On
on Facebook.
on fucking on the press. It's just
Yeah.
it's just bad form. And he was part of the inner circle that when we all told, when when the news got out and he violated that, which is whatever. But if that's the kind of guy you want to be, then then fuck
Yeah.
off as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
So,
Well, I just wanted to apologize because
it's not
there
your
was
fault.
that wasn't like me trying to
no.
No,
you're part of the
I
wildfire.
just I've raised a shot and
Well, I saw a TMZ thing too, which it was insane because I got home from the cruise and I turned the TV on and there's my picture on TMZ, and I'm like, they said they put a picture up of Vinny as Jimmy.
oh
So,
Jesus.
Yeah, top tier reporting there. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they interviewed Brian Forsyth from Kicks, and they were just waiting as he got off the plane,
Yeah.
and he was like, I don't know, dude. I play in a different band. You know what I mean? So,
Well, it shows you how in touch
I mean, they
TMZ is.
they just want to dip their toe in the water or what we do. You know what I mean? So just for the cheap whatever. So
Yeah.
what it is, I mean, they're important in life and in the world
Yeah.
too, I guess. Whatever. They serve their purpose.
Yeah.
but-
Well, the only thing that pissed me off is they didn't say my name.
oh,
They just said
bastards.
karaoke host.
They said the guy who likes the twins.
Then I think they said, then I think they went on to say hosted by Eddie Trunk. I'm like,
oh
sure,
sure
sure,
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah,
Trunk.
yeah.
Forget about Izzy
Yeah,
Presley here.
get it.
Chairman, I've heard a rumor that Lizzo forced her dancers to pull off Izzy's mankini. Yeah, that's not true.
I just like the words Izzy and Mankini in one sentence. That's pretty good.
Oh,
I like that.
we're friends on Facebook. I'm sure you'll see those photos
Oh,
pop
great.
up again.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes. That's how I got famous.
I
actually,
think that should be the name of your new band, Izzy Mankini.
Izzy Mankini.
Yeah.
And then this is how it was like Def Leppard brought their quote unquote curse with them to that boat.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, maybe.
Jimmy passed. The weather was terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't get off the boat. Right.
We got to bow to the Elder of Kotzen twice.
Did we?
Yeah, Richie was on.
Oh, he
there.
played. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
And then when Def Leppard's one show, Joe had laryngitis.
Yeah, I mean he was having. They did an acoustic show the first day, and he was having problems with his throat, and then they just kind of asked me if I could cover a couple songs, and they said, "Oh, first thing I said, do you know any Def Leppard songs?" Like I know every.
Right.
Like, why do you ask? And because I'm just a stupid encyclopedia of songs and lyrics, so that's how it kind of came to be when hey, can you get up on stage? Like, yeah, sure. Walked in the theater and Phil came over to me and he said, hey, Phil Collin, not Phil Susan, Phil Collin came over to me and said, hey, he handed me a set list. Do you know any of these songs? I said, I know all these songs. And I was like, what do you know? Because I've been a Def Leppard fan so long, I still think of Phil as the new guy.
Yeah, right.
So, he's obviously not,
right.
the driving force behind that band, him and Joe. So, but I was like, what do you mean? What do I know? Like, please, I'm still mad that you were in the Me and My Wine video and you didn't play on that song. You know what I mean? To this day, I have issues with that.
Oh my God. This is what I love about music geeks. We know stupid shit like
I just saw it when we did the show at Vamp the other night. I was on the TVs while we were doing sound check, and I was like, "Oh, it's Leopard." I go, "Yeah, but it's not Pete." Pete played on that song. You know what I mean? But maybe he did. I don't know. It just was, from that era of material. So they did a later video for it.
So what goes through your head when they ask you? You're like, yeah, fuck, I know these songs. All right, no big deal.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden you walk on stage and you're singing for Def Leppard.
Well, I went limp just like that. Yeah, I mean, that was one of those holy shit moments. Sure. I mean, I've been a fan for a long time and and it was mostly, a lot of times it's like, what? Because when Eddie Trunk was the one to come up to me, because I had the day off and me and my girlfriend went and ate.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a gig. I ate. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Town, yeah.
And I said, well, let's go to the theater and see if we can get some tickets. Cause it was all the cruisers had their own seats.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure we could even get into the show. Yeah. So went down there and Eddie came out of the theater and he goes, hey, they're looking for you in there. I said, for what? And he goes, Joe lost his voice. And he said, I don't know. I said, okay. So I walk inside. Kobayashi, their tour manager at the time, came up to me. He said, now their manager. He said, you know any Def Leppard songs? I was like, I know every Def Leppard song, as I said. And he goes, okay, well, Joe lost his voice. They need you on stage. And I literally went, fuck you. Like, get out of here. Like, fuck off, like, where's the camera? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what happened. And then I went up and the thing happened with Phil, the set list. And then we broke into Let It Go and we did Bring It On the Heartbreak, I think. And but yeah, it was just a blur,
Well, it was just the weirdest thing to see Joe introduce Def Leppard and then not be in Def Leppard.
Yeah. And then have him standing over the monitor board with his arms folded the whole time we're singing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Joe has been so great to me to this day. He humors me. He lets me hang out with him. He's dare I say, a friend, and when there's a Leopard show, I end up talking to him longer than, I talk to Vivian anymore, because Joe's just, he's a salt of the earth guy. He's not your typical rock star. He likes people. He seems to like people, and he is still not aware of his effect that he has.
Yeah.
on people. Like I just had a conversation with him recently about Bowie and the stuff that influenced him. And I was just like, dude, do you not realize like that to me, you know, you're a little older than I am, you know, Bowie and T-Rex and all those bands that you came up on. I didn't come up on those bands. I
Right.
came up on Def Leppard and Van Halen and a lot of other bands.
Yeah.
Because I said, so I said, you're like Bowie to me. And he's like, to me, he goes, fuck off. It's like, fuck off. And like, for real. And you don't realize that because you're caught up in your own shit because you still give a shit about, you know, your music and you give a shit about your shows. And, you know, he does, and he gives a shit about his voice. And I've seen him, you know, struggle and then come back and just be Joe, like of old, you know, Joe of like a 20-year-old Joe in his 60s, you know, and he's a great guy. He's just a great guy. And he's probably, you know, one of the most famous people that I've ever met that has been just so inviting and so cool to me, you know? So that was the weird part about it. The one time it did hit me what did hit me about it is I got up on the drum riser while we were doing the songs, like on a guitar solo. And I had like a down view I was looking down on Rick playing drums. Right. And everybody knows Rick, you know, he doesn't, you know, lost his arm and all that stuff, but you don't realize how solid that guy is of a player.
Oh, he's a monster.
And for me, in the moment, because usually I'm like, it's all business and I got to get through this. So I got to take care of all the things I need to take care of. But at that moment, I'm looking down at him playing with one arm, you know, and I'm one of very few people that have got to see this view, have gotten this close to a guy who fuck Keith Richards. And I mean, not literally, but like,
right.
If you're talking about like the king of rock and roll or like the guy who's given the most for rock and roll, who's the coolest rock star on the planet, you know, I mean, Keith Richards and whoever else you want to talk about, Bowie again, and these guys that like did all this crazy shit. This motherfucker lost his arm and he's still going. Like 30 years later.
He learned how to play drums
30 years
a
later.
Totally different way. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable.
For him to do that and for me to see it that close, that was probably the most surreal moment of the whole thing. You know, I mean, obviously Jimmy Pat, it was a weird weekend, you know, all the shit that happened, but just watching, cause I'm a fan first. So when I see something like that was something I was very privileged to be a part of. So it was very cool. So,
I mean,
and it really pisses me off when, if anybody's listening that plays drums for me, it really pisses me off when we play Def Leppard songs and you make that joke about, I did it with one arm. Ha ha. Not funny. Stop.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Because you don't know, because he's my friend. So fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Jennifer says it was a nightmare of a cruise, but the best cruise ever. Changed my life, and that's where I found last in line. Well, at the pre-party.
It was the worst of times. It was the best of times.
Let's see. Toya.
That's Toya. I know
Toya.
Yeah.
Toya. That was the strangest thing ever. I see Joe intro the band and walk off stage. Andrew rocked. Let's you know,
better walk off stage.
Exactly. I mean, let's talk about the most important thing: watching Kip Winger sing Def Leppard.
Oh my God, Kip and Eric. Oh my God,
Kip and Eric.
They were lost. It was. They were reading off a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And I remember Kip was just like, "Oh, thank God you're here." And that's another thing. Like, Kip Winger likes me, you know. So this is cool. I just met him that day.
That's where I kind of geek out a little bit too. It's like I can text Kip Winger.
Yeah, I know. It's just
text Kip Winger.
He's another one, dude. He's the nicest guy.
Oh, no, Kip is great. Kip, we do this show. We do it on the Monsters Cruise now. It's called Punchlines and Backlines.
Right.
Where we have like myself, Don Jameson, my friend Courtney Cronin-Dold. We do this show called Punchlines and Backlines.
Right.
As comics, we go up there and we do comedy. Then we get a musician who's never done comedy before.
Oh, Jesus.
And they come up, and we had Kip.
Oh yeah, how'd he do?
He ruled.
Did he really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Courtney and Don, they sit and they talk to the musician and they help write the jokes. So it's not like, you know, you're going up there and telling knock jokes.
My girlfriend's a comedian. She can just write all my jokes.
See, there you go. You want to do I did want to bring this up to you because we are booking shows in Vegas. So if you ever want to do it, you are.
I mean, we can talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
There's a fine line between being funny and being a comedian.
Well, but here's the thing: is it doesn't matter if you bomb,
yeah,
because they expect you to bomb because you're not a comedian,
right?
and then you go out there and kill, and it's great.
Right.
We had Todd Latore. He was awesome. Rep Beach was awesome. Chad Stewart from Faster Pussycat. Dude, look, the list goes on and on, man.
That's
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that worm in your head.
Sure. I mean, I'll do my best. So,
Yeah. And then you go up and jam some songs with your friends.
Will get me an invite on the Monsters of Rock cruise if I do it, because I'm currently not.
Well, I'm just saying, I'll say we can do it here in Vegas.
Yeah.
We're going to book some shows here in Vegas. Yeah, I like it. So the tour starts September 2nd here in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
The album is out now. It's been
Yes,
out
sir.
for what, 6 months, something like that.
Yeah,
It's been
since
6
March.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check all that stuff out. We didn't even get into your history. We didn't even talk about the fact that you're a Yankees fan.
Oh yeah. Die hard.
And of course, as Twins fans, we despise the Yankees.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. I was telling you, I used to be a sports writer, and I wrote this article, and they were still in Metrodome at the time, and about the disparity. Is that the word? Disparity?
That's fine.
Yeah, sure, it works.
We'll put it in there.
Of the record
Right.
against the Yankees.
Right.
And I couldn't figure it out, and I just figured, look, it just comes down to it's the ghost of Sal Bando,
Sal Bando.
who won.
Oh my God.
Who won? Never played for the Yankees, and two is still alive.
Oh, Sal, I've never heard that name in years. I heard Danny Tartable's name yesterday too. Yeah, I was like, Danny Tartable, and I instantly went to now batting for the Yankees, Danny Tartable.
There's a couple accounts on Twitter that I follow, like the Super 70s Sports, and there's like polyester pullovers, and they always pull out old names like that. And you're like, oh God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's
like
great.
Raleigh fingers and all
Yeah. So you know what? I want to save all this. I'm gonna have you back sometime.
Okay.
We'll get into the backstory then.
Well, we got to pull him on for a second.
Oh yeah,
so
hold on.
we can come with me. Come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people who know me have seen Jacob perform with me at the Rock Vault show in town.
Oh, really?
So now he just started high school today, so I just want him to say hello, and he's looking for a baseball contract with somebody. So if anybody's got any sort of connections to a D1 school or to anything like that, he's the guy. So that's my boy Jacob, and he wouldn't come with me unless he got on here. Now he's getting all weird because he's
he sees himself on camera. He's
Cool.
like, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Cool. But look at him, he's a man now. He's a man. Yeah.
So all the ladies out there.
You want to say anything?
Yeah.
You want to say anything? Say hi to your adoring public.
What's up, public?
There you go.
There you go.
He's a natural.
Thanks,
But
man.
yeah, we didn't even touch on the Offspring. We didn't even. But
I mean, there's a lot.
there's a lot. We'll have
I
you
talk
back,
a lot too,
dude. And I like that. I appreciate that. You make my job much easier.
Yeah. Well, we can always zoom in too at any time because I'm
Absolutely.
I'm on the other side of town, so it's a trek.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm dog sitting on the other side of town,
Are you?
so it's a
Okay.
trek. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah. I had to haul ass over here to clean because I
Oh.
haven't been here in a week.
Okay,
So
gotcha. Where you? Oh, you're staying out north.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Up north that way, in a nicer part.
Oh,
Nice little gated community
Sure.
and
Yeah.
nice little pool that I'm gonna go
Yeah,
dive
gate-
into later.
I have a gate around mine too. It's called jail. So.
We'll get you a Pat Fontaine lab.
Yeah.
All right. So the tour starts on the 2nd. The
Yes, sir.
album is out.
Yes, sir.
Is lastinline.com? Is that
Yeah, lastinlineofficial.com, all the tour information and all that stuff. And it's that's about it. I mean, we're on tour in September, and then we're back out again in December and January, February, I think. We got a festival we're doing in where is it? In Mexico in December. We're doing another cruise.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing the Legends of Rock cruise.
Oh, cool.
Or Rock Legends, whatever it's called, with Sammy Hagar and Billy Gibbons. It's going to be very cool. I did it once with Lynch Mob, and it was a lot of fun. It's different from MORC, and because it's not all 80s rock, folk.
Yeah.
It's more blues and just other types of music. So it's cool in that way because you're seeing Jefferson, the current version of Jefferson Starship plays, and we saw Don McLean one night, which was wacky.
That's it's just like the On the Blue Cruise, pretty much.
Yeah. I think
Which
so,
is it's one of my favorite ones.
is it? Yeah. Is that a Larry cruise?
Yeah, it's a Larry
is it? Oh,
Cruise.
cool.
And because you get to relax,
Yeah.
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 And you get to watch Pat
Chill
fucking
bands.
Travers.
Yeah.
Or the Lovin' Spoonful.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, very cool.
No, it's a good time.
Yep.
It's a good time. So, and are you doing rock vault stuff still?
No, I haven't done that since 2018.
Okay.
Though I've been asked back twice by two people that don't have the authority to ask me back, who think they do. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that in a while. So, but they're still going. So.
Yeah. And actually, I can walk to it now. Which is
Yeah, I actually went after one of the hockey playoff games. I walked over there and just kind of popped my face in.
You a hockey guy too?
I have become one since the team
Okay.
came here. I was
All right.
never a big New York hockey guy, but
All right. Well, we'll get into that next time.
free
too.
tickets changes that though.
Yes, exactly. Well, let me hit my outro music. Andrew Freeman, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And hold on for a second here. Make sure you guys do not walk to your local ticket office and get your tickets for the Roxy on the 19th for the 7-horse Dada reunion. And of course, the band that I will be playing with, Mike Dawson and the Smokin Kills.
Yeah.
Going to be awesome. Cannot wait. I'll be back on probably Monday night. I am working on the guest as we currently speak because I am going to have a kiss night on Tuesday night.
Sweet.
My friend Lisa from the Three Sides of the Coin podcast is going to be in town. We're getting kiss tattoos.
Cool.
And at the Count's place. And then we're going to do the museum and play the mini golf and have a good time. So podcast will be on Monday night next week. It is what it is. We will see you then. Now make sure you guys hit up all the social media at Izzy Presley all the way across the board. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course the show page. Another podcast. And shit. I was going to say this too. Got some irons in the fire to do another Drunken Summit throwdown. We've done a lot of these in the past, and we did the first Warrant versus the first Poison versus the first Cinderella.
Oh, cool.
And I think why not do the second ones?
Oh, okay. There you go.
Because you go track versus track versus track, it gets really hard.
The second
See,
Cinderella is great though.
oh, fuck. Dude, all those second records are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. My name is Izzy Presley. It's another effing podcast. And don't forget, what I lack in talent, make up for in the cock.